Greetings, my name is Zach, and I taught middle and high school art for over a decade in the U.S. public schools. My perspective on this daunting issue of artificial intelligence-based art comes from that side of things. There are loads of professional artists and artists in the industry who have some wonderful things to say about this topic as well, and I'll have links to those in the description down below. One of the most troubling things I am seeing with this situation is the effect that it's having on the psychology of art students across the world. It is already such a tough situation to simply decide that you want to pursue art in the first place, and often without the support of loved ones. To now have to deal with the juggernaut of AI art standing over you just makes it feel all the more impossible. It makes me scared and sad, as it already felt like a tightrope walk for most young artists. I fear this is going to take away the dreams of young art students, knowing that there is a program out there capable of making such great things with such little effort. I've heard from the community of people who already feel like giving up, like their art making is hollow now, and there is a growing sentiment of, what is the point? Making art is difficult, or rather, acquiring the skills to make good art takes a lot of time and practice. I think the hopelessness is understandable. It doesn't seem irrational at all to me. And it doesn't seem irrational either to reflect and think about the situation a little more deeply. It scared me when I first saw what it was capable of. Then that fear turned into potential excitement, as if maybe I could use this as a tool to augment my art. And then that faded as I looked into everything a little bit further and listened to some of the other awesome creators in the community as they pulled back the layers of complication surrounding this issue. What a strange time we live in. So I guess my biggest issue with it from an art teacher angle is how discouraging it is to artists in general. I can't speak to whether this will mess with people's careers or not. That's just not my background. But I do know that it's messing with people's hopes and ambitions, and that is dangerous. I have some thoughts on how we can move forward and exist in a world where AI art is part of the landscape. I don't think it's going to go away. And I sincerely hope that the efforts of the Concept Art Association can make some headway in at least having the future of AI art be an ethical one. So here are some thoughts about moving forward, if you're an art student, an artist working on honing your craft, or selfishly, if you're me, and also just struggling with this concept as well. I want to start with some of the more ethereal pieces of this discussion, and then head toward the more grounded components. First of all, I can't imagine most of us dove into art with the express purpose of making money out of it. Now, perhaps we did dive in with the hopes and dreams of making a life out of it, or a career, but doesn't that usually come from what pushed us into art in the first place? The love of making art, the love of creating things? Maybe it's a little trite, but if we enjoy making art in the first place, just because an algorithm can do it too, doesn't take away from that joy. I know personally there have been moments where I have let that fact taint the joy that I receive from my art making, but I think that is me letting it have too much influence. When I sit down to draw some funky creature, it doesn't matter if a program can do it too. It just matters if I can get that little thing out of my head and onto the page and enjoy that process, and maybe share it with some other people who also get some joy out of it. There is and has always been joy in the process and the final product achieved through art making, and this modern era doesn't change that. If it sounds like I'm talking to myself as well through this, it's because I am. I need to hear this too. I have my moments of self-doubt, I have my moments of hopelessness. I think maybe that's just part of what it is to be human. I think another beneficial choice that some of the professional artists in the field have mentioned as well is digging into traditional art. AI art may eventually be able to reproduce oil paintings, but it is a much more difficult process for it to master. The actual physical pieces of art are quite separate from the situation we see developing online. If you already spend time specifically working in traditional media, you are likely more safe than those working in the digital realms. The friends and contacts I have who build and create physical artwork for a living or hobby are relatively unaffected by the current situation. The other side is that if you are working in traditional media and sharing it online, it might be much easier to tell that it is a human-produced piece of art. There may be more honor and interest given to artwork that is obviously human-made if the AI continues to grow and eventually dominate the airwaves. I am, of course, not thinking we should all abandon our digital media. I certainly don't intend to, but investing some additional thought or time into traditional methods of art might be a decent response to this. On the heels of that idea, I think it might be more beneficial than ever for us to start recording the progress of our pieces. What you were seeing in the background while I speak to you today is artwork that I have made and recorded. Artwork that shows my individual processes and struggles and identifies me as human. We all seem to gravitate towards things that are human-made. There is something unconsciously inside us that leans toward that which was made by us, by the same thing that we are. In addition, if you have recorded your progress in some fashion, it is easy to prove that you actually made the art you claim or you post. I don't know how close we are to having to heartily defend our art as our own, but having video or photo evidence along the way will never hurt. I think there may be more people interested in the process of how art is actually made as this proceeds as well. It could be that avid users of the AI products become quite intrigued by the traditional way these things were made. On a very practical note, don't let this destroy you. Yes, it is scary, but what a pity if our fear prevents us from taking action to protect ourselves, or even change the course of this situation. It is stressful if you have any ambition of an artistic career or continuing the one you already possess. If you want some more information about this, especially from professional artists in the industry, I would strongly recommend Steven Zapata's video on the topic, as well as Sam Does Arts and Adam Duff of Lucid Pixel. They are all wonderful creators and lovely human beings, and have great information about the topic from their individual perspectives. Please be nice in the comments down below. I know that there are some heated opinions concerning these topics, but I would love to hear about how you are doing with the situation. If you liked the video, please feel free to like it, and subscribe if you'd like to see more of my content in your feed. Have a good one, y'all. See you soon.